We just got some awesome news in the world of physical games. Honestly, this is really fantastic. If we're going to take a look at this post right here, you can see that Nintendo just confirmed that more than 38.5% of game sales are physical. Now, honestly, this might seem a little less than you were originally anticipating. At first, you would have thought, yeah, it probably would be 50% or something. But if this is all game sales, you gotta remember that there's some games that are digital only. There's some games that you gotta take into DLC into consideration. If you already have the Switch 1 version, well, you want to get a Switch 2 edition, it doesn't really make sense to buy the game for an extra $100 than to just get the $30 upgrade. So this is what we have to take into account when it comes to digital games. But honestly, this is really fantastic. Nintendo is still pushing out physical media. In fact, the most recent sales that have sold a lot physically is Splatoon Raiders. This is a game that I've been seeing flying off the shelf. Every time I walk into a local Walmart or Best Buy, you can never see a Splatoon Raiders. Unless there's not enough physical copies, but overall this is definitely some great news. This is something that I personally want to hear, and I think 38.5% is better than nothing, or what Sony seems to be saying that, oh, more than 90% are all digital. Physical media is dying, so that's why we got rid of it. Doesn't quite make the most sense now, does it? Also, if we were going to take a look at this right here, there's been a new unveiling or a new announcement that has been made. Apparently, Xbox is actually doing the digital or the physical to digital disc format, which means you're going to be able to slide in your Xbox game into the console and then it'll turn into a digital license and you will be able to play that anywhere you want. Honestly, I think that this is definitely some great news, because then more and more companies could start to follow this trend. Because imagine that. I don't even think that the outrage would be as bad as it is now if, hey, maybe the next generation of consoles don't have disk drives, but you are going to be able to take a cartridge from any generation, throw it into that, and then all of a sudden it's going to copy over the game files and make it a digital copy instead of what you have now. Which means instead of inserting the disc every single time to play your game, you will be able to play this game without any physical cartridge or physical disc inside your system. Also, it seems like you will be able to transfer your game to PC if you don't want to buy a PC, an Xbox version, whatever the case may be, this would work just fine. So honestly, I think the new era of physical games is here, and you gotta really look at this. Ever since the announcement that Sony was making, you gotta really look at this like maybe this was a good thing after all. Now I know, it kinda sucks that PlayStation decides to get rid of physical games, but if it wasn't for that one announcement, do you think people would care this much? Do you think that the whole thing would be like, yeah, well, a physical game is here to stay, you know, you're always gonna have that option, but I'm still going to buy digital? Right now, it seems because of that one announcement that PlayStation shot themselves in the foot, every other company is kind of riling together to make sure that the physical era sort of stays around. Because if this was an announcement, I don't think Xbox would really care. I feel like right now they're working on this digital to physical thing just to point back at Sony for getting rid of this, because then all of the market would shift into that direction, because of course the Xbox is more powerful than the Switch 2, and the Switch 2 sales have been going up more and more because of the physical games, and more physical games have in fact been selling out pretty much everywhere, which I think honestly, all of these things aside, are definitely great for physical consumers, because hey, I'm honestly personally here. I'm here for it. At first I wasn't really a big Sony guy anyways, so like if they were to cut that off, there's not really a game that I'm going to be playing there, but this is great for everywhere else because it just proves that you actually own something. If you get rid of physical games, you don't technically own anything anymore. And I guess this is where the big discussion actually comes from. I know we've been talking about this subject a lot. It seems like every new news discussion has been making its way on the channel. But you gotta hear me out. This is definitely some great news this time around, because not only on the part of Nintendo, with like 40% of all game sales are physical. That's all. Like I said from the start of this video, that includes DLC, that also includes digital only games. So hey, we're looking pretty good with still a big majority of people choosing to play physical instead of digital. Because hey, you want to own something, well then there it is. You don't need internet for this game at all. If you were to look at Xbox side, for example, I know this is a Nintendo channel, but hear me out. Xbox is doing this really well because then you don't have to buy two versions of the game anymore. If you play on PC and you play on Xbox as well, you don't have to get the disc and you also have to get the digital copy on that. You just get your physical copy and you're gonna move it over. So this begs the question, is everyone going to be transitioning in this path? Because that'd be fantastic. It would bring the light of physical games back again. Like, if you were going to look at it, physical games aren't the only one that's getting the big talk, the big resurgence sparks. If you don't remember, records used to be a really big thing back in the day, and now it seems like they're coming back. It really does. If you go to your local store, I guarantee you'll find a record and you'll find a record player. So it just seems like, hey, we're moving backwards in the trend of era so you can actually own something once again. Instead of the entire world becoming a subscription service that you have to pay for Netflix for your movies, and half the time the movie that you're looking for is not even on Netflix. You're paying what, $30 a month for no ads. If you want to go lower, you gotta pay for ads, which definitely doesn't make sense. So it definitely seems like owning your movies again have been a big topic. In fact, I could go as far as saying owning music is in fact a big hot topic. Even though that some of the greatest spots to get music, in fact YouTube and also Spotify also works, it seems like people like to own things once again. Like, imagine what would happen if every company decided to scratch this. We're not doing physical games, we're not doing anything, you don't own nothing and you'll be happy. Imagine that, imagine the outrage, because right now, oh boy, half the things aren't even on subscription service if you look at it. Maybe you're trying to play a specific game and it's either you buy it, which you don't technically own it, you're just essentially renting it, or you rent it by paying a monthly subscription service, which you also don't technically own. And half the times I've noticed if I get a subscription service, I don't use it to its full potential. So then you're like, well, should I buy the game? Am I buying more than 3 games to make up that full service? It's definitely a whole mess, and I think that this right here is some great news. More than 40% of all players choosing physical over digital is definitely a great sign, and it looks like Nintendo isn't getting rid of physical games anytime soon. Because hey, if they were to get rid of it, that would be a big blunder in the gaming community. In fact, I can see a lot of players just ditching gaming as a whole, or sail the high seas. Yep, that's another way to do it, sail the high seas, because honestly, I have no shame in saying it. If they get rid of physical games, I'm gonna become a pirate. I quite literally am going to sail the seas to find treasure and other things that pirates do. Anyways, what are your thoughts on this in the comment section down below? Do you think that this is some good news in the realm of physical media, or not at all? Anyways, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope you consider hit that like button, maybe subscribing if you're new. We do a bunch of different Nintendo content on the channel. Anyways, thank you so much. See you in the next one.